This is News 8 at 6:30.
Thanks for joining us here at 6:30. I'm Denise Hanitka.
And I'm Johnny Gendrich. Tonight, Trump officials are quick to deny responsibility for the anonymous op-ed in the New York Times, how President Donald Trump's top aides are responding to the author's claims.
And a couple accused of stealing money from a homeless man who helped them. The new developments in the story that's taken a very strange turn.
Want to raise a helpful child? Researchers say there is one small but important thing you can do. That story coming up next in Positive Parenting.
Our top story tonight, top administration officials are speaking out, denying any responsibility for writing a scathing New York Times op-ed. The author claims President Donald Trump, quote, acts in a manner detrimental to the health of our republic. The president is reportedly furious, calling on the paper to turn over the author. Janae Norman has reactions from the administration.
Washington and the White House are still reeling from the bombshell New York Times op-ed written by an anonymous author identified only as a senior administration official. The Times saying revealing the person's identity would cost them their job. The anonymous administration official writing, many Trump appointees have vowed to do what we can to preserve our democratic institutions while thwarting Mr. Trump's more misguided impulses until he's out of office. Some lawmakers calling for the author to step down.
If you're not interested in helping the president, you shouldn't work for the president, as far as I'm concerned.
Certainly the president needs to be accountable, but he doesn't need to be torpedoed from inside.
But the unnamed official explains the reason top aides choose to stay on the job is to save the country from President Trump, even claiming that cabinet officials have whispered about invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Mr. Trump from office, but no one wanted to precipitate a constitutional crisis. The official writing, Americans should know that there are adults in the room. This isn't the so-called deep state, it's the work of the steady state.
If you follow this White House, nobody should be really surprised at that. I've always believed there are adults in the room.
Anyone who's had any dealings with the White House knows this is exactly the way things have been from day one.
Sarah Sanders sharing a tweet calling for those interested in learning the author's identity to call the New York Times and ask them. Others saying only time will tell.
It probably won't take long for us to find out who wrote it, who has denied it already. The vice president. That was my first thought.
A game of Guess Who is underway as the public tries to figure out the identity of that author. More than a dozen top administration officials have denied responsibility.
It's day 3 of the confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Today, New Jersey Senator, that is, Cory Booker released several Kavanaugh emails that were marked confidential. The documents talk about abortion and affirmative action, but Republicans say they were already cleared for release last night.
They quickly moved to release documents that I was talking about public forum. So they were releasing them anyway now. But yesterday I broke these sham committee confidential rules. Yesterday I broke these sham committee confidential rules, and I accept full responsibility for what I'm doing.
In a 2003 email, Kavanaugh wrote he was unsure all legal scholars refer to Roe v. Wade as settled law. Kavanaugh is still expected to be confirmed because Republicans hold the majority in the Senate. Legendary actor Burt Reynolds passed away today at the age of 82. His agent says Reynolds had a heart attack and died at the Jupiter Medical Center in Florida. Reynolds' acting career spans more than 50 years. The 1972 thriller Deliverance is widely credited for launching his early career. The Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run movie franchises helped make him one of Hollywood's highest paid actors in the 70s. His final on-screen appearance will be in Quentin Tarantino's next movie called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Former Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore is suing actor Sacha Baron Cohen for $95 million. The actor wore a disguise and interviewed Moore on his Showtime show, Who is America? During that fake interview, the actor waved a wand and said he detects pedophiles. The wand beeped when it came near Moore. Moore is suing Cohen for defamation. During his failed run for Senate, Moore was accused of having sexual relations with teenagers. Legal experts say Moore may have a tough time in court because he signed a release agreeing to do that interview.
Police raided the home of a New Jersey couple accused of defrauding a homeless man of $400,000 from a GoFundMe account. Police had a BMW towed and were seen carrying boxes out from the property owned by Katie McClure and Mark D'Amico. They're accused of withholding money intended for Johnny Bobbitt. He's a homeless veteran. The couple started the account to repay Bobbitt for generosity after he gave his last $20 to them for gas. An attorney representing Bobbitt says the money is now missing from the GoFundMe account. A judge ordered the couple to appear in court next week to explain what happened to that money.
Today, a Chicago judge increased the bail of the police officer accused of killing a 17-year-old, Laquan McDonald, in 2014. Jason Van Dyke's bail is up by $2,000 after breaking bail conditions by giving interviews. The judge says the conditions barred him from talking about the case publicly. Van Dyke's lawyers argued he has not violated the order because he didn't talk about the specifics of the case. The judge, though, disagreed.
Ford is recalling about 2 million F-150 pickup trucks due to a seatbelt issue. The seatbelt issue can generate sparks that could start a fire. Ford says it's aware of 17 cases in the United States and another 6 in Canada, but no one was hurt. The vehicles in this recall are model years 2015 to 2018 Ford F-150 regular cab and Super Crew cab vehicles. Owners can take the vehicles to a dealer for a repair.
4 people are dead after a shooter opened fire in a Cincinnati bank. Police say the gunman walked in this morning and started shooting, and then going into the lobby and firing more shots there. Officers confronted the suspect. Right now, it's unclear whether the shooter was shot by police or a self-inflicted wound.
I believe there is some security camera. We are trying to secure that video, as well as there will be body cams from the officers that has to be processed.
The suspect is among the 4 people killed today. 2 others were hurt.
As Tropical Depression Gordon weakens, Hurricane Florence could threaten the East Coast by late next week. Thousands of people are already without power as more flooding is expected in the Gulf Coast. The National Hurricane Center says parts of the Mississippi Valley could get up to 5 inches of rain today and cause flash flooding. Meanwhile, Hurricane Florence is now a Category 3 storm with sustained winds of 115 miles per hour. Forecasters say the storm could hit North Carolina late next week.
The Justice Department filed charges against a North Korean hacker today. The DOJ says North Korean programmer Park Yin-yok is responsible for hacking Sony Pictures 4 years ago. The DOJ admits there's been no effort to catch him or communicate with the government about him. The Treasury Department revealed sanctions against Park along with the company he was working for. The U.S. believes the hack was retaliation for the movie The Interview, centered on a plot to assassinate the North Korean leader.
In a historic ruling today, India decriminalized homosexual acts. India's LGBT community danced and waved flags after their Supreme Court struck down a colonial-era law that made homosexual acts punishable by up to 10 years in prison. In a unanimous decision, the justices ruled the law was a weapon used to harass members of India's gay community.
Finally, the judgment came for our favor, and that's all we need as the youth of tomorrow. We need to be who we are. We cannot be somebody else for the law, and we're finally free to be who we are in front of the law, and that's all we wanted.
The move overturns more than 150 years of anti-LGBT legislation.
Taking a look at your local headlines tonight, a family business that's been around for 60 years in Clinton is closing. The owner of the furniture store, Eastman House, says it's time to retire. Susan Richardson took over the business in the mid-'80s, back when it was known as Goddard's Town and Country. After 35 years of keeping up with trends, she is closing in November. She has 7 workers on staff who've been with her for 10 to 20 years. And everyone waited for her to close so they could all retire together. A Galesburg business is adding dozens of jobs as it expands to become the factory of the future, they say. Jupiter Machine Tool is ready for the next generation, planning to add some 50 jobs over 3 years. The company makes custom parts for its clients. It's also partnering with area high schools to prepare students for careers in manufacturing. The new headquarters features space for virtual reality and augmented reality projects.
Around 100 high school students learned about careers in cybersecurity today at St. Ambrose. CornCon is a conference for people interested in cybersecurity careers. There are currently 350,000 cybersecurity open positions across the country. Today, students played a virtual capture the flag game to learn about hackers and how to protect companies. The conference is open to the public tomorrow. Participants will learn about lockpicking, drone hacking, and even election hacking. Coming up tonight at 6:30, Up Close and Personal.
What a lion did to these tourists on a safari.
And for most of us, things are a little drier out there. Still a few isolated showers at Dodge. In fact, we'll expect that coverage to increase again. Some of the rain could be heavy. Tell you when that will take place and who will see the most as far as rainfall is concerned right after the break here on News 8 at 6:30.